Hello, welcome back to the Video Vortex. The latest rental off the wall is Holy Shit. No, that's the name of the title. It's Holy Shit from 2022. Not the shock and surprise of this latest selection. Um, this is I had never seen. I remember hearing something about it on the periphery when this came out a couple years ago, but I had never seen it. Had either one of you saw this?
No, I don't know if you've heard about it. Yeah, I'd never heard about it either.
Now, the entire premise of Video Vortex is we're basically watching stuff that, you would have rented back in the days, but every once in a while, a newer one will sneak in like this one did. And we did like Batman Bad Blood a few months back or something like that. But going forward, we just want to kind of note going forward, we're going to focus in more on the 80s and 90s because I think that's more of what people are probably looking for with this series. So this will probably be the last newer flick that slides in here, but I'm glad that it did though, because I was
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised with this one.
Yeah, we were both. I mean, speak. I'll let Tiana speak for herself. But yeah, I had never, like I said, hadn't heard about it going into it, not expecting much of anything. I mean, we watched the trailer and that looked pretty cool, but you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the trailer is the best thing about it. But no, as the movie unfolded, I was definitely pleasantly surprised. What do you think?
Yeah, it was really good. It was entertaining for it being only in one place, the whole movie.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are
Yeah.
all those type of movies for me are always kind of hit or miss. Like sometimes
Yeah.
a lot of times I can kind of get down with that, especially usually when it's like say mainly only one dude in one small enclosed place movie. This one does expand on that a little bit, and as the movie goes along, right? But for the most part, it's just this one guy locked in a porta potty for pretty much the entire movie, and there's a you kind of working backwards in the sense you're trying to figure out how did it lead to this dude being basically left for dead in this porta potty, and why is that a dangerous spot, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I don't know if we didn't mention it yet. I don't think, but did we? Or maybe you did. But a German movie with English subtitles. So.
Yeah, there is that too. So sometimes that can be hit or miss as well. But like that didn't hinder the movie at all. My enjoyment at all.
No. And I think the guy. I mean, like I said, this. I don't know what the budget was on it. I assume it wasn't that huge or anything. But I mean, whenever you have one person in one location, you're really relying on that person's acting ability, right? For the movie. And when you got a movie that's not, I don't know if this guy's a name actor in Germany, but I assume it's being a small budget and everything. At least, over here, I don't know who the guy is. I'd never seen him before, but I think he did a great job for being in that one location and being what the focus of the whole movie is on. I mean, there are other people that come in and out of it a little bit, but he's the main, the one.
Yeah,
So I mean,
your main one was Frank, which is played by Thomas Niehaus. Then you've got the no, I'm sorry, the antagonist is Horst, which the actor's name is Gedeon Burkhard, and he seemed familiar. Like I didn't dig much into him, but like he seems like I've seen. It just feels like I've seen that dude in something before, and maybe we can dig at some point, and I'll look it up. But and then there's the love interest of Frank, which was Marie, which is played by Olga von Luckwald, and she kind of pops in and out, and you see more of her as the film goes on. But yeah, it's essentially just. I mean, I know that sounds like a weird premise. This dude's locked in a porta potty, but it ends up being something very violent and very gory, especially that last what 20 or 30 minutes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's there throughout, but that last little bit is like literally holy shit.
Yeah, and that moniker pops up a few times in the movie. I don't know what the story's behind. I didn't look into that behind the title, but there's various situations in here where the actors say that, and that you think that like holy shit,
Yeah. That title works in so many ways for this one because not just the big moments where you're like, wow, holy shit, but the fact that he's in a porta potty, right, swimming in feces.
Yeah.
So
you're definitely more than reminded of that from time to time. Whenever we're not giving away too much. We don't do the spoilers here for the Video Vortex and whatnot. But and this isn't a spoiler, but because he's in a porta potty, there are some scenes where shit water is in a place, and like it's a movie that you smell. You can smell, you can imagine, because most everybody I know has probably been in a porta potty before, and some nasty ones. When it's where whatever's been used quite a bit, you go in there to do your business or whatever, and you got to basically hold your nose or something. If you could imagine porta potty falling over and that shit water and stuff flying all over the place, and
he's hung in there for a specific reason and cannot get out.
Yes, hung for a specific reason is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. Even in your mind's eye, right? Like you can imagine, like you said, it's brutal.
It's got wincing scenes in here, a few of them that are like, not giving anything away, but think certain wincing scenes from horror movies that make you like say, I'm not saying this is what's happening in the movie, but somebody's fingernails getting pulled out, or like Zombie where a splinter's going into somebody's eye or something like that. There's quite a few scenes in here that make you wince in that type of way.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was written and directed by Lukas Rinker. So after seeing this, dude, I'd love to see some more from Lukas. Like I really enjoyed this. It's well done. It's shot, like you said. I'm not sure what the budget was, but I mean the look of it, production value wise and everything. I mean, like some of the camera work here and everything. I mean, it's just and the special effects and stuff, right?
Yeah, and they're almost all. I mean, from what I could tell, at least 99% of them were practical effects, because for what he was doing in here, you didn't really need necessarily digital effects. I mean, CG and stuff, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things toward the end, right? But for the most part, got some practical effects going on here. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, not that I necessarily had a low bar for this, but I didn't really have a bar. I was like, well, it is what it is. We'll see. And
we do a wheel spin right for these, and when it landed on a movie called Holy Shit, I'm like, oh great, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
What is this going to be?
2022, no less. So you're like, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, no, I would highly recommend it. Usually we come together and give a Vortex rating beforehand. We kind of forgot to do that, so we can kind of do it on the fly here. Our scale is 0 through 10, but the highest ones we've ever given out were Samurai Cop and just last month the Microwave Massacre, and that got a 7. So 7 out of 10. So I'd say for different reasons, this is just as good as that, if not better.
Yeah, this is where it becomes a little bit hard to rate, because Microwave Massacre is what it is, and so is Samurai Cop. I love those movies, but I don't love them because they are specifically well made or great. And I think this movie is well made, and it's like I said, it's just kind of hard to gauge. I mean, you could say one's better than the other. You could definitely say that this movie technically is made way better than Microwave Massacre or Samurai Cop. So, but what is your enjoyment factor too? That's what you factor in for movies like Microwave Massacre. Because if we were rating these on technical abilities, then Microwave Massacre would be like a 2, and then this one would be like a 9 or something, 8 or 9, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But we aren't rating when it comes to this, so that's where just to get this out there. So if you're watching, it's probably not going to be an issue going forward, because we're going to be doing mostly 80s, 90s straight to video releases. So
it's tough to compare. It's tough to compare this to those kind of movies.
It's just a really well-made film, especially for whatever the budget was, which I assume wasn't that great of a budget. Probably it didn't have to be for being mostly shot in porta potty. So
I do wonder out loud though how much watchability this thing has. Like, because I really did enjoy it. But is this the kind of movie that you would watch over and over?
Exactly. Like, see, now I could watch Microwave Massacre over and over. Then that comes down to situational, things going on in the movie that are so absurd, the dialogue, and then the same thing goes for Samurai Cop. Like, I could watch those.
This one, like, once you've kind of figured out what's going on here, is it one that you would plug in and watch multiple times? I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it again, but it's not one I would go out of my way to watch again.
Yeah. This is almost one of those where you could, like, I mean, I'm not saying it's in the category of, say, like Blair Witch, but like, when Blair Witch came out, you saw it one time, or at least for me, and that was good enough for me. But then you also wanted to show it to some other people to gauge their reaction.
True, yeah, and this definitely falls in that category, though.
And I'm not saying it's like some super twist thing that's going on, or like an M. Night Shyamalan type twist or something.
But once you figure it out, and then once you see what the resolution is, I wonder how would you care,
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's an excellent point. And for me, like you said, it's not one that I would revisit next month or next year even or whatever. Sometime down the road, I could see me watching it again. Sure.
Yeah.
But definitely not one that you're going to pull out and just like it's not going to be. I'm going to watch this once every other year or so.
So I say all that to think, in my opinion, just to be fair to those two movies, I would give it a 7, just like I would those, because I really did enjoy it, but I don't know how much I would want to go out of my way to watch it again. So I think that on the scale brings it down a nudge for me. I mean, what do y'all think?
No, I feel exactly, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about that. The fact I was just thinking of how well made it is and how it kind of draws you into all the way to the end. But yeah, it's not one because it is set in one location and because it is sort of like the first Saw movie, for instance, is also even though there's more stuff going on in Saw, there's more locations. A lot of that takes place in that one area, and it has a big payoff at the end that once you see, you're kind of like, okay, I've seen that, even though it's really well made. How many times am I going to revisit it? You're not going to get the same out of it.
The Sixth Sense, right? Kind of the same thing. Like once, not to give anything away, but once you've kind of seen it, you're like, all right, well, maybe you watch it one more time to put some more puzzle pieces together, but that's about it, So
true.
But not that those things don't have entertainment value. And if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, I think we highly recommend you go check it out. At least once. Give this one a viewing. So it's on the higher end of the Vortex rating scale. So we'll land on a 7. And like we said, moving forward, we'll lean more into the 80s and the 90s. Maybe occasionally we'll pull another title like this one out, but for the most part, our main focus of Video Vortex will be the 80s and 90s. As we've been talking about on the podcast recently, and as we talked about just last week on the latest Grindhouse Gutter, if you didn't check that out, we highly recommend you go check that out. We watched Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS. So that one you need to go check out. But we're about to enter our summer event. Every summer for a couple months, we do a big summer topic. And this year we're talking vampires. So we're calling it the Spookshow Sucky Summer. So every movie that we watch, along all the platforms, YouTube and the podcast, except for Hammer Horror and Order, that one's kind of obvious. We're watching those in chronological order. So we don't really control what's going to happen there, but
sure, because some people, we have to like say that too, because some people will say, "What do you mean you're suspending Hammer? You know how many vampire movies that Hammer have done?" But we're doing this in order, so it just doesn't fall in the timeline.
Yeah, and if you really want to go check those out, we've already seen a couple of vampire movies that Hammer did, right? So in the past, Hammer Horror, so just go check out the playlist here on the channel of Hammer Horror and Order, and you'll see we've already talked about Brides of Dracula and
Dracula, or Dracula and Brides of Dracula. At least those two for sure.
At least those, yeah. So in the past, so those are there if you want to go check them out. But other than that, everything will be vampire related. And next month we spun the wheel and we landed on Night Hunter from 1996, starring Don the Dragon Wilson. So I've never seen it, never heard of it, but it's another straight to video flick from the 90s. So crapshoot time. Here we go. Who knows what to expect here, right?
Yep. I know I'm kind of looking forward to it because, like I say, it's I'm big on, I don't know how much martial arts in this. I know Don the Dragon Wilson's in it. It's a vampire movie. I assume he's going to be doing some martial arts. If not, I'm going to be disappointed. But I haven't seen it, so I am kind of looking forward to it. So we'll see how it goes.
I'll only be disappointed if he doesn't kick a stake into a vampire's heart in this movie.
Yeah, there should be that. There should definitely be the kicking, placing it and then kicking it right in there.
Yeah, it's got to happen at least once. Hopefully more than once. So yeah, that'll be the next Vortex. Next month, that'll be the next rental. So for Donnie and Will, who couldn't be here, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All American Spook Show podcast, which you can listen to every Monday at 6 p.m. East, right here on the channel and wherever you get your podcast. And also, like we talked about earlier, stick around here on the YouTube channel. We've got Grindhouse Gutter and Hammer Horror and Order series every week, monthly, here on the channel. Lots of stuff to go check out. So click the bell to be notified, and please subscribe to the channel and all that jazz if you've enjoyed it. So thanks for watching.
Ich bin hier!
Wo steckst?
Im Dixie!